All right, so we are starting a brand new chapter today, and this new chapter is about percents. So we're going to be dealing with all types of percents. We're going to be dealing with markups and discounts and tax and all of these different things, okay? So to introduce this section, we learned a little bit about converting to percents and from percents to decimals. Today we're actually going to be working with percent proportions. So our last chapter was all about proportions. And if you remembered, with proportions, you were constantly setting two things equal to each other. So this is an equal sign. There's a space here that shouldn't be here. And so this is just an equal sign, okay? And so the first thing that we have is this formula that we're going to be working with. And our formula is always going to be part over the whole. In 6th grade, you learned it as is over of. That works too, is over of. I just always think of it as, is it part of the number or is it the whole number? And that is going to be equal to the percent over 100. And we're going to be using this formula all the time throughout this entire chapter. So for about the next month, this formula is something you're going to be using all the time. Part over whole equals percent over 100, or is over of. Okay, is over of is a shortcut some of the time. I personally just prefer the part over whole, but everyone's different, so who am I? Okay, now if you notice, there are 5 main steps that we're going to be going over, and we have an example problem at the top. So the first step, let me get some different colors out. Maybe that will help us to be able to differentiate the different steps. Okay? So, step number 1 is to circle the keywords and the number / word it is attached to. Okay? So we're going to circle keywords and the number / word that it is attached to. So for example, if you look up here, you have 18 and is. So that's what it means about the word or number it's attached to. And then you have right here, what percent and then the last one you have is of or 60. And if you're wondering, some of these keywords are is, of, and percent. Okay, those are 3 keywords. So if you notice, we circled all 3 of those. And so now, after we circle or box them, step number 2 is to put those key numbers into the formula. And make sure that you do not include the percent sign. Okay, you don't need to include that percent sign. And so now we're going to put them into the formula. We have the 18 with the is, so that's going to be on top. So you have your 18, let's do it in black. Okay, over the of, which is of 60. Okay, if you don't know how we got both of those, the is went with the 18, so it goes where the is, and the of went with the 60, so it went there. So is over of equals the percent. What percent? That means we don't know the percent. So your percent is x over 100. And then the next step is good because we're really good at this step now. Find the cross product where you can. So now finding the cross products is something we've done a lot. You multiply diagonally. And so you have 100 times 18, which gives you 1,800. Okay, and then after that, you are going to divide by the leftover number. And so then you're just going to divide by 60. So you have 1,800 divided by 60, 30. So x equals 30. And then the last step is going to be that if you were looking for the percent, now is the time to add the percent sign. So we were looking for the percent, and so it's actually going to be 30%. And that's going to be our answer. Okay, on this particular one, the is and of worked really well, but remember that doesn't always work, so it is part over whole. So let's look at these three practice ones, okay? First I'll do the together, and then you will do the practice. So, number 1, 18 is what percent of 60? We just did that one. So, 18 is what percent of 60? I feel like I shouldn't do this one because it's right up here. But it's just going to be 18 as your is, 60 as your of. You don't know the percent over 100. And then you're going to cross multiply and you get 30%. Next, okay, you have 150%. You have of what number? And then you have is 24. So now let's look at our formula. It's is over of. You have your is, which is 24. The of what number is what we're looking for. We don't know the of. We know the percent, which is 150. And you always know that one right there because it's always 100. Alright, so this one, it was pretty easy to know where the x is because it's of what number? We don't know what of is. And so now you're going to multiply diagonally. So you have 100 times 24, which is 2,400. And then you're going to divide by the number left. My pen's dying on me. Divide by 150. So you have 2,400 divided by 150. 16. Okay, let's look at the next one. You have what number is 24% of 80. And so now, what number is, we don't know what the is. And the is on top, so it's x over of, which is 80, equals the percent, which is 24 over 100. And so at this point, we just do what we've been doing. You multiply those two, 80 times 24 divided by 100. 19.2. And then you have 3 practice problems. Now on these practice problems, if you would like to box them in different colors, that's fine. It honestly kind of helps. It even helps me sometimes. But if not, feel free to do it in your head, or if you want to just circle them with your pencil, that works too. Whatever you feel like works for you best. Okay? And so there you go, and you can get started.